Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Philip Sadiq Show. We are on location, Cobb's Comedy Club in San Francisco. We're with this guy here, Kabir Kabizi Singh. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. So tell us how you got started in comedy and, what keeps you going?
I think I got started, about 4 or 5 years ago. So my friends were always telling me how funny I was in high school and college.
Right.
Told me about doing a little bit of stand-up. And then, I started hitting up the open mic scene for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And just really, really got addicted to it. Started writing a lot, getting on stage, and I was trying to figure out how to make people laugh. It was kind of weird. But, yeah, I got into it basically by mostly my friends kind of pushing me in that direction,
Okay. Now, before we get to the big stuff, when you first started doing comedy and you, fell flat on your face, how did you recover and how did you keep going? Because a lot of folks will start and then they just okay, everybody yelled at me, threw stuff on the stage at me, I'm out.
Yeah, I think the first time I did stand-up was cool because it was at a small place in Fremont where I'm from, and all my friends were there, and I did, my first time doing stand-up, I did 20 minutes of stuff.
Right.
And I think, the first 10 minutes was really good, my friends were supporting, and I had all my friends over there, so they weren't rude or anything.
Right.
I think I bombed maybe 3 months later when I started doing bigger shows, especially Cobb's, actually, one of the places
Premier
I bombed.
places.
Oh my God! I think Cobb's 3 months into stand-up, I did an all-Indian show, and it was all Indian people.
Man.
And this is crazy. This is a great story.
Big.
So right after the
Big.
show, I completely bombed hard.
Uh-huh.
And I remember all the comics were hanging out in the back, and what happened was all the audience members were passing the comics and saying, "Hey man, nice show, blah blah blah." And I remember this one Indian guy just saying, "Hey man, you're that unfunny Indian. You're the unfunny one." And I was just sitting there I can't believe, it really hurt because,
Right.
Half of it kind of pissed me off, but it was more hurtful, and I was well, that's kind of mean. And then I think literally the next day, I had to figure my stuff out, and it was more of a motivation. I was like, okay, Cobb's.
Right.
First of all, Cobb's for me at that time, it sucked, dude. Coming to Cobb's and bombing and having some guy tell me I was the unfunny Indian in that crew.
Yeah.
Well, it hurt. So I remember in my head, I was like, I want to get really good, get as good as possible, so I could come back to Cobb's and kill it. Literally the year later, I did the Indian show. The year later, and I destroyed it. And that was literally, when you bomb, that has to motivate you, and you have to want to have revenge, kind of, on that crowd. You want to say, all right, if I could do it, let's do it. And literally, I believe 364 days of nonstop working, thinking to myself, when I get back to Cobb's, I'm going to kill it. Literally a year later, I came back and destroyed it. So I think when you bomb, you got to take that and turn it into something positive and really work hard. I think,
Right.
So I guess when you do bomb, as for comics out there, when you bomb, you really have to figure out what jokes didn't work, why it didn't work, and figure out other jokes. Okay, if I would have said this differently, would that work? And if that joke said differently doesn't work, then you got to just rewrite all your material. And that's essentially what I did. None of that 10 minutes that I did that night is in my set today. All of it was rewritten.
Yeah, I find that interesting because I know some up-and-coming comedians think they can just go out there and say a lot of stuff off script.
Yeah.
But you do it more focused, okay, you take it 1, 2, 3, well, joke number 2 didn't work, get rid of that, and then you move something else in there.
Well, what you have to do is, if you do a joke and it doesn't work, reword it, and if it doesn't work reworded, then just, let it go and start working on something else.
Right.
Yeah. What other people do is that they think a joke is really funny, and they think it's so funny that you just keep doing it over and over again no matter what, even though it's not working, and then reword it a little bit. It just does not work like that. You really, if it's not funny, just move on.
Yeah.
And if you stick to it, it's more trouble than good, to be honest.
Right. Now, we just witnessed you, my girl back there, we just witnessed you lock the crowd down. I mean, within 4 minutes, you had everybody eating out of your hand.
Oh, yeah.
How does that work? You make that connection quick like that, and you just go right into it.
Yeah, I think the first thing you do is establish. My always thing is I like to establish something about myself to the crowd first. Say, hey, this is me. This is what I do. Blah blah blah. So I want to, I don't remember exactly what my first joke was today, but you want to connect with the crowd early. Do all your really good jokes that are going to kill all the time up front. So if you do a kill 6 minutes that everyone's going to like you,
right.
They've already checked you off as, okay, this guy's funny. Then you could start doing maybe another 10 minutes after that where you might think that, okay, this is some stuff I'm working on, something that's not so funny, but you'll still get that same reaction because the crowd has already checked you off as a funny guy.
Right.
Let's listen to this guy. So I guess what you have to do is really relate to them, do 5 minutes of material that everyone can relate to that's really funny, that works at all the rooms, and when you get them on your side, then you could kind of mess around a little bit.
Okay.
And then get them hard again at the end, which I did.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did. You sure
Because you don't want to go up here and then just start going down and say, wow, that guy was funny 35 minutes ago.
Right. Challenges.
Yeah.
in this, I mean, to keep going, to keep, further down, expanding yourself.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the challenges, of course, some of the sacrifices you had to make to get to where you're going.
Let me just say, it's not worth any of it, but let me just tell you, it's infinite. It's infinite. It's so difficult. So first, you have to figure out if you're really funny, right?
Right.
Oh, by the way, by doing this, you're neglecting everybody. I mean, you're talking all your high. I must have had like 1,000 high school friends, man, and I'm all those people. I mean, I just don't hang out with them anymore. I rarely get to see them, so that's all off the window. This is a 7-day job, 7-day a week job. So, the sacrifices are that you can't have a job. Like, unfortunately, it's you have to go full blast. If you're working part-time, you're not writing, and if you're not writing, then you're not performing well at night. So financially, you need to have something weird. You have to live with your parents, or you have to just all these ridiculous. So basically, you have to live with your parents, or you have to have some sort of money income from a way that doesn't take you away from comedy. Okay, so that's number one, money income. You're not talking to your friends that much. Number two, you're hitting up open mics all the time, hitting up as many shows as you can, writing like 6 hours a day. So sacrifices are there, but to make it, man, it's even harder. First, you have to figure out if you're funny. Then you have to get into the clubs by being respectful for all the comics that you're opening up to, right? In the beginning, you're hosting. You're hosting at clubs that you essentially don't even want to be working at, but you're actually hosting there, right?
Right.
None of them are Cobbs. But, so you host, then you start making friends with the features, and then you start making friends with headliners. And then you start going up, and then even when you get to a certain level, I mean, even if you get on TV, like, this is the worst part. Even if you do everything right, get into all the clubs. Now you're working all the clubs in America, right?
Right.
You're making like $60,000 a year, right? You're not getting on TV. You're just working all the clubs. You're going to Minnesota, then Mississippi, and then you have 100 people there that watch you. And say, I don't know, out of the whole weekend, 1,000 people would see you. 20 people like you. They'll come back and see you over and over and over again until you get a following.
Right.
To every state, doing that over and over again.
Yes.
Get that following, and then it's just like, you have to do that. Then you have to audition for TV shows, because at this point, doing comedy is not enough. Even if you have to audition for sitcoms. You have to get on TV.
Right.
You have to get on shows repeatedly. You go Conan, Letterman, stuff like that. Tonight Show back in the 80s, that would get you a sitcom, right?
Yes,
I mean,
it would.
Seinfeld would go Wong Show
yeah.
twice, got a sitcom. Not like that anymore. There's way too many comics out there. All these comics are doing this stuff. It's the same thing. So it's a grind, man. First you have to be really funny, then you have to start networking, then you have to start getting a fan base, and then you have to try to get on TV, then you have to stay on TV, and then you have to be funny on TV, and then you have to build your fan base from TV. And then you're finally doing what? You're selling out a couple clubs a year.